Welcome to the deep dive. Space is always throwing us curveballs, but today we're looking at something different, something that seems to be actively fighting the sun.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. We're talking about 3I Atlas. It's only the third interstellar object we've ever confirmed found back on July 1st, 2025.
And it's not just passing through, it's like a box of puzzles.
Exactly. It's moving incredibly fast, sure, over 130,000 miles an hour. Takes this really odd straight path.
But the real kicker, the thing causing, well, shockwaves, is how it's moving. It seems to be breaking fundamental rules.
That's the core of it, the engine-like anomaly. I mean, think about comets.
Right, they have
They have tails made of gas and dust, and those tails always point away from the sun. Solar wind, radiation pressure, it pushes them out. Simple physics, like a windsock.
always away. But 3ILS.
It's doing the opposite. Observations clearly show this bright jet of material shooting straight towards the sun.
Towards the sun? How is that even possible?
Well, it shouldn't be. It's like finding a flag waving directly into a strong wind. It's generating thrust against the pressure.
So it's pushing itself actively.
That's what we call non-gravitational acceleration. It means its path isn't just dictated by the sun's gravity. Something else is, well, nudging it constantly.
And this nudge, it's measurable, isn't it? They put a number on it.
They have, yeah. And it's small, like incredibly small. The force is about 4 times 10 to the minus 7 meters per second squared.
Okay, that sounds tiny, like nothing.
It is tiny. Think maybe a single grain of sand pushing you gently. But the key is, it's constant.
Ah, okay, so over time.
Exactly. Over just a few weeks, that tiny, steady nudge pushed 3I Atlas about 1,000 miles off the path gravity alone would dictate.
1,000 miles. Okay, that's significant. That's not noise.
Definitely not noise. It confirms something is actively steering or at least pushing this object.
So the obvious explanation for a push would be venting gas, like
Yeah.
a normal comet, right?
Yeah.
But you mentioned a numbers problem.
Right. That's where the standard explanation falls apart. If this thrust came from water ice sublimating, turning straight to gas, the usual comet thing, the math just doesn't add up.
How so?
Well, to generate that much measured thrust, it would need to be losing mass, like 10 times faster than what astronomers are actually seeing. It's producing way too much push for the amount of stuff it's visibly shedding.
So it's too efficient.
In a way, yeah. Or the mechanism is different. The only way simulations could match the observation, the thrust and the low mass loss was quite specific.
What did they come up with?
They concluded it must have a really focused, concentrated jet pointing at the sun, and critically, ejecting mostly heavy dust grains, not light gas like water vapor.
Heavy dust. Okay. And the thrust needed for that.
Also calculated, about 0.4 millinewtons. Again, sounds tiny.
But is it significant in space terms? 0.4 millinewtons.
It is, actually. That level of thrust is very comparable to what you see from advanced ion engines. The kind we use on some of our most sophisticated deep space probes for precise maneuvering.
Ion engines. Wow, so it suggests controlled, efficient direction, not just random outgassing.
Precisely. It's a signature that points away from natural, chaotic processes.
Okay, so the engine is paradox number one.
Yeah.
But then there's the path it took to get here, right? The trajectory itself is weirdly precise.
Oh, incredibly so. It just screams non-random. First off, its path is tilted only about 5 degrees relative to the plane of Earth's orbit.
The ecliptic plane, yeah.
Right. Now, for an object coming in from interstellar space just randomly, the odds of hitting that flattened angle, less than 1 in 500. Pretty low.
Already unlikely. But there's more.
There is. Look at the actual route it took within the solar system. It made close flybys of Mars, then Venus, then Jupiter, a specific sequence.
Like cosmic meet and greets?
Kind of. But the probability of that specific sequence of flybys happening just by chance, it drops below 1 in 20,000.
1 in 20,000. Okay, now we're talking lottery odds. That can't be just coincidence, can it?
It's pushing the boundaries of coincidence really, really hard. It feels less like a random visitor and more like it's, following an itinerary, a scenic route through the inner planets.
Astronomers must be looking at those numbers and just shaking their heads.
Well, it certainly forces you to consider explanations beyond just, a random rock drifting by. And then there's the chemistry.
Right, the James Webb Space Telescope got a look at its coma, the gas cloud around it.
It did. And JWST dropped a couple of chemical bombshells. First, the composition. Most comets we know have a sort of balance between carbon dioxide and water ice.
Okay.
3I8TLS, overwhelmingly dominated by sulfur dioxide, SO2. We see SO2 sometimes, but this level of dominance is really, really unusual.
Huh. SO2 dominant. Weird. But not the biggest shock.
No, the biggest shot was the metals. or lack thereof. JWST detected atomic nickel vapor in the coma. Quite a lot of it, actually.
Nickel vapor, okay. Rare, but maybe possible.
Rare, yes. But here's the kicker. Nickel's usual partner, iron, was completely missing.
Wait, nickel without iron, aren't they always found together?
Exactly. They're like cosmic brothers. They're forged in the same supernovae. They condense together when planets or asteroids or comets form. Finding one in abundance without the other, especially in vapor form like this, it's fundamentally unnatural based on everything we know.
Like finding, what was the analogy? A single footprint.
Yeah, like finding one perfect footprint in the middle of a vast desert with no other tracks anywhere. It just breaks our models of how elements should behave.
Okay, so movement that defies physics, a trajectory that defies probability, and chemistry that defies, well, chemistry. This sounds familiar, doesn't it? It brings Oumuamua back into the picture.
It absolutely does. Oumuamua, our first interstellar visitor back in 2017, remember, it also showed non-gravitational acceleration. It sped up, leaving the sun in a way gravity couldn't explain.
Right, but the big difference was Oumuamua had no tail, no coma, nothing visible to explain the push.
Exactly. Which led to all those controversial ideas, like maybe it was an alien solar sail or something thin and light being pushed by sunlight.
So now 3I Atlas comes along.
It's like Oumuamua's louder, larger cousin, as some are calling it. This time, the push is visible, that jet, but the jet itself is impossible, pointing the wrong way and with impossible chemistry.
So seeing two of these both defying gravity in weird ways in less than 10 years,
Yeah.
that changes things, doesn't it?
It really does. It suggests these kinds of anomalous objects might be much more common than we thought. It confirms a pattern. One anomaly is weird, two with similar weirdness. That demands a better explanation.
And the timing for getting a closer look or understanding this engine is getting critical.
Yeah,
October 30th, 2025 is the key date.
that's perihelion, yeah. Its closest approach to the sun, that's when everything gets maxed out. Heat, solar winds, speed, whatever this engine or jet is, it'll be under maximum stress then. We should learn a lot.
Should. But there's a catch, right?
A big one. Right around perihelion, for about a week, 3I Oculus will disappear behind the sun from our viewpoint. It's called solar conjunction.
So just when it's most active, most revealing, we go blind.
Pretty much. The sun's glare just completely blocks our view. All our Earth-based telescopes, radio dishes, everything. Useless for that critical week.
Okay, if you're thinking about non-natural possibilities, that timing seems almost convenient.
Extremely convenient if you were designing it. See, physics-wise, perihelion is the perfect time to make a small adjustment with a big effect.
How so?
Because the object's moving at its absolute fastest then. Even a tiny nudge from an engine like that 0.4 millinewton thrust we talked about applied right at perihelion has a huge amplified effect on where the object ends up later.
So if it was a probe wanting to, say, change course or slow down to enter orbit secretly.
Doing it during solar conjunction when no one on Earth can watch would be the absolute ideal time. Maximum effect, minimum visibility, completely covert.
Wow. Okay. The convergence of the impossibility, the timing, the blindness, it really forces us to consider some radical ideas, doesn't it? Even if they're on the scientific fringes.
When the standard models fail this spectacularly, you have to open the door to other hypotheses, however strange they sound. You have to follow the data.
So let's walk through some of them. What about that weirdly specific path? Mars, Venus, Jupiter.
Well, that leads to theory A, the Bracewell probe idea.
An autonomous observer.
Yeah, maybe an ancient one, sent to scout emerging civilizations, perhaps. The flyby sequence wasn't scenic. It was necessary gathering final baseline data on our planetary system before, I don't know, making its next move.
But wouldn't a super advanced probe be stealthier? Why, this obvious physics-defying jet pointing the wrong way seems leaky.
That's a fair point. But the counter-argument within that theory is maybe the jet isn't propulsion in the traditional sense. Maybe that sunward thrust is incredibly precise braking or positioning.
Braking against the sun's cush.
Exactly. Canceling out solar radiation pressure perfectly to fine-tune its trajectory, maybe to settle into a very specific hidden observation post. Like somewhere in the asteroid belt, perhaps, for long-term monitoring.
Okay. What about the alien chemistry, the SO2, the lonely nickel? If it's not exhaust.
Then maybe it's the payload. That's theory B, the terraforming machine.
Terraforming, seriously.
Look, it's speculative, but the idea is the jet isn't an engine, it's a dispenser. A controlled spray mechanism releasing specific materials into the inner solar system.
Those materials, SO2 and nickel.
Sulfur dioxide is a powerful greenhouse gas. Nickel can act as a catalyst for certain chemical reactions. Maybe the goal is to subtly alter the environment of, say, Mars or Venus, or even here.
And releasing this payload during solar conjunction.
Would be the perfect time to do it unseen. Release the bulk of the material while hidden, let the solar winds spread it around before the object pops back into view. A cosmic seeding.
Wild. Okay, Theory C takes a different angle. What if the impossibility itself is the point? The galactic test or signal?
Yeah, this one's kind of meta. The idea is the physics-breaking behavior is deliberate. It's a signal flare.
How so?
The thinking goes, any civilization advanced enough to even notice a comet violating basic physics, let alone measure its tiny, impossible thrust, well, that civilization might be sophisticated enough to be worth talking to.
So it's like a filter, a cosmic IQ test.
Sort of, yeah. It's designed to be ignored by less advanced species as just an error or weird data. But for a species like us that notices the paradox, it's an invitation. Solving the puzzle, figuring out why it's doing this is the first step to contact. The violation is the message.
A planetary scale IT experiment. Okay? And then there's the darkest option, Theory D.
The dark forest debris idea, this one comes from the more pessimistic view of the cosmos, the idea that advanced civilizations hide because contact is dangerous.
But 3LS isn't a probe on a mission.
It's wreckage. A piece of something destroyed in some unimaginable conflict far away, a derelict ship, maybe a weapon fragment, still bleeding energy or materials.
So the weird chemistry is just exotic shrapnel. And the engine.
Is a broken system. Maybe a damaged drive still firing erratically or reacting violently to the sun's heat in ways we don't understand because the technology is alien and damaged. It explains the paradoxes as system failure, not intention.
Chilling. Okay, so as we head towards that solar conjunction, that week of blindness, we're left with this fundamental question, aren't we?
We really are. Is this just a completely new, maybe extremely rare type of natural object that